And welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Fighting Chat podcast. The Ultimate Fighter, season 29, episode 3 coming up as a chat. It's going to be as enthralling as the last 2 episodes, I should think.
Whoa. Enthralling?
Is that not real?
Enthralling?
No, it's enthralling. Ask the hit.
It's definitely not, man. It's enthralling. That one
It's
I know.
not enthralling. It's not enthralling.
I don't need to check the dictionary. I don't need to check with Hick. That you've got that one wrong. But carry on. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right? Listen, I ask you this. Did you know what I meant?
I knew what you meant, but it's
right.
definitely not enthralling. It's definitely not. I'll get you evidence now. You ready? Can you hear this? You ready?
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Right, I can't hear nothing either. So you haven't been able to prove it, and we're sticking with it. Enthralling episode. Nothing wrong with it.
It's definitely
so we're going to just do a little review here of episode 3. We'll start off with the desert voice bloke. He announces Treyjon. What's his name? Treyjon Gore. He announces him with the desert voice at the beginning of the show as a stand-up specialist. I mean, we know he likes to knock people out, so he may well be. And we're going to find out because he's fighting at the end of this episode, which we'll get to at the end of the episode. But a stand-up specialist, well, just so you know, I can't remember if he said anything about Ryder. I doubt he did. But it starts off with that. And then it goes straight into a bit where there's a scene where Ortega and his mates interrupt Ludwig's interview scene. I mean, what was the point of that?
Hated it. Just wait for him to come out.
Wasn't it bad? It was sort of like showing that the Ortega team are hard and they don't give an ingers and they'll do whatever they want. It's like, oh, excuse me, guys, we're just doing a little interview thing, and I went, so what? And just all piled in there. Why then? What do you think the point of that was?
It was awkward as well because they're all trying to make out like they're brethren and mates and stuff like that, and they ain't.
Yeah, they're mates because he won the fight. Yeah,
they kind of walked in there, and Shalinian kind of looked at him. Ludovic looked at him a little bit like, "What's going on?"
Yeah,
and then they all kind of hugged him. Was it Anna Gracie kind of hugged him in a bit of an awkward hug, and it was, and then there was another fella in there, and it was someone's face over the back, just looking into the camera. I was like, you guys should just wait till he finished. If I was him, I'd have been like, I'll be out in a minute. I mean, why couldn't they wait? It was just crap.
Wasn't it a bad scene?
Yeah, and it just added nothing. It didn't make it better. It wasn't funny. If they opened the door and threw in, I don't know, whatever, a stink bomb or something, at least then I would get it. He's trying to do an interview and they've just thrown, I don't know,
messing it up,
a lump of dog mess in there or something. I get it, right? That might have been something. But they just went in there and hugged him. And it just shows how little content they've got on this show that they were like, well, we'll keep that in. Someone should have looked at it.
Right. Exactly right. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the point of it was, to show that Ortega and his mates are, I don't know, against the man. They do whatever they want. I didn't understand it.
I don't know what I think. I don't know what it was. But I'd say the best part of this show was pretty much in this opening scene. And I'll tell you what it was. It was Mitch Raposo being the saltiest mofo on planet Earth. He ain't better than me. I'm better than him.
Oh, yeah, he had the ump, didn't he? Because he got done, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get the disappointment. But the best bit was he was telling all those people and they were kind of listening to him. And then Ortega went in and done his amazing practical joke of going in and interrupting Ludovic's interview.
Yeah, brilliant.
And then after, they just showed Raposo putting his mug of whatever he was drinking, probably tears, put his mug of tears down on the canteen or the side or whatever. And everybody had already left. And he was on his own. And I was just like, that was a good bit of editing, that, as in like, he's just sitting there boring everybody going, I'm better than him. And everyone was kind of going, not really, because he got done. And then Ludovic's cheering and everything. The next scene, just Raposo, one man on his own, putting his mug of tea down because he's bored.
Drowning in his sorrows.
That's exactly it. Yeah, drowning in his sorrows. Sorrows? Drowning in his
that,
sorrows.
yeah, I know what you meant.
You did.
Sorrels is all good with me. Don't worry about that.
Very enthralling. But that was the best part of the episode for me, watching Raposo being just.
It was.
I get it from his point of view. We even said in the last review, right, that we feel that he's potentially got a higher ceiling
That's right.
than Ludwig.
It's a bit of an
So
annick, that, isn't it?
I kind of got the angle he was coming from, but he didn't half sound like
sour
spoiled.
grapes.
Yeah, there's another good one. Yeah, sour grapes, spoiled little brat, didn't he? That's what he came across as. Rather than just taking it on the chin and going, I got beaten. But if someone drops out, I'll be here to, what's the word? I'll be here to step in. That's what you should have said.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, well, he just needs to toughen up a bit.
He does,
yeah. I suppose.
I genuinely think it would be a good, interesting climax or storyline if he did manage to get his way back into the competition and met Ludovic in a rematch, because it was a good, tight fight.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
Rematch in the final, that'd be quite interesting. Anyway,
all right. Ryder Newman came up and he said he chose to fight Treyjon. What's his name?
Treyjon.
It
doesn't matter. I knew what you meant.
Oh, you did, yeah, right. He chose to fight Treyjon because he thinks he's the best on their team. I just thought, yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, if it was me, I definitely would choose who I thought was the worst on their team. That's what I would do, right? I ain't a fights bloke, though, right? But that's what I would be put in that situation. Of course, I'd want the easiest test, especially on something where I'm on a TV show that hopefully gets me into the organization. I just want to get into the organization. Then I'll take the toughest fights and all that. I'm early in my career. So how about you? What would you do? Would you choose who you think's the toughest? Because he might have just been chat anyway.
No, it's just chat. I hate it when people say that. It's the same as when they say, I'm ready to die in there and stuff like that. It's just macho, garbage, nonsense. And if it's not, then you're a bit of a mug. Because, like you said, you are, because this is a competition where it's taking place over a concentrated period of time. Injuries can happen easily, all this kind of stuff. The main goal there is to get into the UFC, and you choose the path of least resistance. You don't go, well, I want to go in against some big knockout artist in the first fight, then a suffocating wrestler in the second. No, you want to take on who's the guy whose bed got, you want to take on the Jason Thackers. That's what you want. In an ideal scenario, I want
There's
Jason
one in
Thacker.
this, though, isn't it? He's just take on Aaron Phillips. Is that his name?
Yeah, there you go, right? you want to take on Thacker in the first round. That French guy who didn't come out for round 2 in
one of
those early
series. A knife or whatever, yeah.
And then, I don't know, Mitch Raposo in the final.
But that's right. You're absolutely right. You got to treat it as what it actually is. I know you want to prove you're tough, but this is a game, a competition. Get through it, get your contract, then start with the real stuff. You need to just get through this, right?
I know these guys do have a different mindset, right? They do have a unique mindset.
Of course they do, yeah.
And stuff like that. But what I liken it to is, in football, right? If you support a football team and you're in the FA Cup or whatever cup, or let's just say we've got the Euros on at the moment, right? In football at the moment. Now there's a group of death. It's called the group of death because it's got more difficult teams in it than every other group. So most groups generally have 2 strong teams and then sort of 2 slightly weaker teams, or a medium team and a weak. But this group has got 3 absolute powerful footballing nations in it. France, arguably the best man for man in the whole tournament. Germany, who always, it don't matter even if they got naff players, get very far. And Portugal, who I believe may have won it last time out. And then they've got Hungary as well, who are supposed to be the whipping boys. Now, there is not an England fan out there who is going, damn it, I wish we were in that group instead of Hungary.
I want to prove myself. I want the toughest group.
In fact, England yesterday, when they were playing against Czech Republic, some people were saying they should play for the draw, because by winning that game, we now get drawn against either Germany or France. And people are saying, go for the draw, finish second in your group, then you get an easier route to the final because you get drawn in a different bracket. But now, because we won that group, we've got to play Germany or France next. And both Germany and France will put our pants down very comfortably, I imagine. There is no one there going, well, no, this is great. I want to test ourselves against France. You'll have to meet the best team in the final eventually anyway.
If they're the best, then yeah. Yeah.
Get in there and then prove you're the best against the other best team in the final. All this, I want to take on the best guy. Nonsense. He's trying to sound hard. He's trying to sound cool. I'm not buying any of it. Sorry, Randy.
Randy
Newman, isn't it? Ryder. Well, close enough. Yeah, you knew what I meant.
I knew exactly who you meant. No bother.
Yeah.
No bother over here. Yeah, so listen, I agree with you. But I think the fight's there. The fight's done. Now you got to try and sound hard, ain't you? And you're going to go, if I win, I've beaten the best bloke. If I lose, I got done by the best bloke. Bit of a strategy thing, I think. But why say it? Because I wouldn't say, I don't know. Would I say? No, I wouldn't. I'd just be honest and go, I want the easiest route. I can't remember. There's a current UFC fighter that does do truth myths. Darren Till. He says things like, no, I don't want Yoel Romero. Sod that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's another one. I can't remember who else it was. He's like, I ain't fighting him. You know, he's right. He's right. Look, he's joking because obviously if he got matched up, he's a professional fighter. He will do it. He's obviously not scared of him. He's just saying, no, I'd rather not. So it's
I'll tell you another
you've got
one.
a different mindset, but the football, you've done a good one there. Your comparisons ain't always good. The football was a good one. Even I understood it because you say you don't want the tough group or whatever, you know?
No, because you say you win your games more comfortably means you've got more energy for the final, for the big battle. If you've been scraping through all the way, you're mentally and physically exhausted by the time you come to the final showdown. But what was I going to say? I'll tell you another guy who's.
I really want to know what it was.
I'll tell you another guy who was honest. Luke Rockhold, when he said the rematch against Bisping, and he was like, "This is just easy. You know, this is brilliant. I'm looking forward to this. You know, I knocked you out and choked you out in the same fight. You know, I chose you because this is easy." He said all that stuff. How'd that pan out? Anyway, moving on.
That's right. I remember him saying, like you say, this is the easiest match that he's ever had, pillow fists and all that going on. And the funniest thing about that, ironically, you like that, Hick? You like it? I'm sure I've used it in the right place here. Ironically, when Biz has won, he went, ha, that's the easiest fight I've ever had.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That's what happens, Rockhold. I mean, that's what you get. So now the next bit in this show is we get to a little bit of our mate Ryder and his home vid. And he was doing chats about, you got to see a bit of a fight footage. There was very, very little footage of this guy to make any judgments, but there was a Rhino nickname story.
Oh my God.
Well,
yeah, go on.
But there was not much to chat about here as well in his thing. There was no girlfriend. I'm guessing he ain't got one because there weren't a girlfriend in it or she didn't want to be in it with a frying pan and eggs. That was not there. He lives in Vegas. He trains at Extreme Couture, which is why you probably called him Randy. Fair? Possibly, yeah. And he does some hiking. And that was that. Sorry, that wasn't that. That and the Rhino story. That's his nickname. I mean, how did it come about? Do you remember how it come about?
When he had a party or some crap.
Oh, yeah, like that's instead of calling him Ryder, he's called Rhino.
Somebody said to him, "What's your name?" And he went, "Ryder." And he went, "Rhino?" And he went, "Ryder." And he went, "Hey, everybody, this guy's name's Rhino." And I was just like, please don't tell me that's the end of the story. Please tell me there's something else. And there weren't. That was it.
He went, and it stuck. And that was it. Yeah. That was it. Someone made a mistake. Hey, but it suits him.
Shame we weren't invited to that party. It sounds like a right laugh.
Mate, brilliant. Well, that was his vid. Like I said, his vid was nothing. I'm not sure why, but it was nothing. But on to Treyjon. Is that his name, Treyjon?
You can ask me that every time you say it. Just call him Gore.
Because I keep thinking I'm getting it wrong. Yeah, all right. Treyjon, he slept in a car with no heating.
Lies.
And a window that wouldn't go up all the way. So he's done the lot. He's done all the classics.
I don't believe that. I do believe that he's had rough times and he's probably
he's from the ghetto and everything.
But yeah, and he's had to sleep in his car and it was a bit chilly outside, you know, and the heat was broken and the window didn't go up. It's like, no. This is too much stuff. Can we, just add on a little bit, and there was somebody outside, blowing cold air through the gap in the window. Why not just make it that little bit tougher? I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
I'm just not
Well,
buying it.
there's a reason I'm not buying it, because he must have had a real change of fortune recently, because he's got a wife, a dog, and a baby, and he trains at ATT. So he's doing all right now, isn't he? I mean, blimey.
Yeah. Well, good for him. Pride himself, making something of himself. Well done. But I don't believe the car story. I believe he slept in his car. But all those events, I reckon he probably had one car in his life where the window didn't go up fully. He's probably had one car in his life where the heater broke down. And he's piled them all into one story to make himself sound rock hard. But yeah, good for him that he's had a bit of a rough start, and he's making something good of himself. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. He's got his
Ryder might have
to
something
come.
to say about that. The Rhino.
Yes. The Rhino. It must be something to do with him taking people down. Oh no, it's not. It's because someone got his name wrong, including you got his name wrong as well. So it seems to be
Did you see the most interesting thing about Treyjon's home videos and stuff like that to me was when it showed the footage of, I think it was his footage, amateur footage. He was fighting in like a red ring, like a square, rather than an octagon. Did you see that? It's quite unique looking, wasn't it, that cage?
Yeah.
I've not seen it that before. But
did we get any clues as to what it was? Or normally, sometimes it comes up at the bottom, doesn't it? It says what fight.
Yeah, what promotion or But no, I don't think so. I've got something to say about Treyjon though.
Fine, say it. That's what we're here for.
You remember when he was asked, "What is your skill?" and he said, "I like to knock people out."
Funnily enough, I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. How many knockouts do you think he's got in his career?
Well, I mean, he might not have achieved any yet. How many fights has he had?
He's had 1 amateur and 3 pro.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go for it. 4, obviously.
Yeah, but at worst, you'd probably say 2, right?
No, I'm going 4. This is what he does. But look, he said the words he likes to knock people out, but don't forget what he was asked. He was asked, what is his strength? Right? So to me, it's 4 fights, 4 KOs. What's the answer?
1 decision, 1 submission.
Oh.
And 2 TKO doctor stoppages.
Ah!
So he ain't never knocked anyone out unless he's a really crap training partner and he does it in training all the time.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I did notice that in the ATT footage, it showed him doing training, and he was throwing head kicks at his training partners. He was definitely trying to knock people out in training. I ain't sure about him, whether he was a TJ Dillashaw or not, because there was one that was pretty hard.
I saw it, I saw it land, yeah.
It was hard, wasn't it? Right? It looked like touch sparring to me, right? Playing around. And I'm telling you now, that was a solid head kick. That it was out of order. He should have done a Strickland, and the other bloke and got the ump with it, because I think it was well out of order. To me, it was too much, but whatever. He was on vid, so the bloke just took it literally on the chin. So he was definitely trying. There was other bits in his vid where he was driving whilst talking on the blower, doing a vid and reading an invite to the show. I mean, dangerous as hell, that. You know what I mean? Remember that?
That happens so often. I always think to myself, who is so busy that they can't just stop and sit down for 5 minutes in a car park or wherever? I don't know why it's always got to be in a car, but why they can't just stop rather than doing it while they're driving.
Why are you filming him in his car?
I don't know. To me, it's the same as the eggs move, though. Someone has always got eggs or their kids in their home videos. There's always people doing chats in the car. That goes without saying.
Now, Treyjon says that he likes to knock people out, as we know. Have we mentioned that before?
I think it's popped up once or twice, yeah.
Well, he's definitely said he likes to knock people out. But to be fair, his fight footage, it showed a lot of him doing submissions, which I thought was funny, but at the same time, on a serious note, I thought maybe this is a good thing. And you've sort of just backed it up there, that in his short fight career so far, he's actually got a submission win. So I don't know if he should have done that knockout thing. It seems to me that he's got a few more strings for his bow. This is without us talking about the fight. We've seen him fight. That's coming up. So that's what it showed in the fight footage. That's what I took from it. Now, what else I took from his home video, full stop, was that it was length. A length home vid a bucket load of training footage with clips of him chatting and hitting bags, slow motion hitting bags and all that. It told me a lot, which again is bad producing by DeFranco. Regardless of the result of the fight, it seemed like they're a bit more pro Treyjon. Either that or there really was now to show with Ryder Couture.
I think there was nothing to show. They even, if you want to say there's a little bit more of a interesting subplot on Treyjon's side because he was training with the fella who also trains with Ryder at
Miles.
Extreme. Yeah, and so he was trying to, if you like, get a little bit of info.
That's right.
And the guy was trying to be evasive, and I think for the large part he seemed like he was being evasive, which is the right way to be. It's just because he's just been randomly selected to be on a team with Treyjon, that doesn't override the fact that he trains full-time with Ryder. So I think he was doing the right thing of just deflecting the questions. I think Treyjon was being, the way he was talking to Ryder and stuff in the house, he seemed a little, don't know if I'm going to say insecure, but like he needs to pump himself up before
nervous.
a fight a bit. Yeah, like he needs to, that stuff's playing on his mind and, that he kind of, had some mental things he had to sort of try and, I don't know, I don't want to say conquer or anything like that, but, he just seemed that he didn't seem relaxed with it,
No.
Let's be honest, it's quite a unique scenario having to live with someone you're going to have a fight with the next morning. But he seemed a little bit more on edge than Ryder, whereas Ryder seemed a little more just comfortable with the whole scenario of, well, I'm having a fight tomorrow, so what?
Yeah. Well, I agree with that, if you remember, but Treyjon is going off the bit you're talking. He had a conversation with Ryder about whether Miles has been giving away secrets, because he trains with him. And they televised that conversation. I don't know if you remember, but I could not understand a word of it. They were chatting back to each other, and I was like, what did he just say? What's he just said? I didn't understand any of it. None of it. I don't know what they were talking about.
Don't worry, you didn't miss much. It was just two people chatting absolute trash. When I say trash, I don't mean in the good sense, as in trash talking like McGregor and Diaz. I mean as in one saying, listen, bruv, I love you. I got nothing but love and respect for you. But tomorrow, you know how we roll. We're going to go in there and lay it all on the line. And the other bloke going, dog, I respect you. I respect your game. I respect your hustle, dog. And it's just like, hey,
wasn't it?
I respect for you coming and telling me that Miles ain't been dogging me out. Hey, man, I got more respect for you. And tomorrow, I know you're a good fighter. You're going to bring, it's just like, you know what? Cut this, DeFranco. There's nothing to show here. Let's go back to Raposo drinking out the mug of tears.
It was mug of tears. Yeah, it was a load of dribble, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah, just posturing and. Garbage.
But there was nothing. Even Treyjon got bored of it and went, "Well, I'm done now." He actually said the word something like that. But anyway, I'm done now. See you later. I'm going to do a wee or something.
I think that's all this episode and these guys had to say for themselves. Though was this. If you like, it's just really boring, monotonous stuff that every single person that goes in that house seems to end up saying. I respect my opponent, but tomorrow it's fight time and blah, blah. It's just so boring. Honestly, I know at the time, Junie Browning, everyone thought he was an absolute pillock.
Brilliant.
But yeah, wouldn't you just give your right arm for a Junie Browning to just pop up in this series out somewhere?
You would, wouldn't you? Yeah. He is
this
good.
Is so boring, man. I'm telling you, I was so bored by this. I think it was about half hour in, and I was just going, I can't handle much more of this. I can't handle Treyjon reading out the Bible or quoting Bible stuff or talking about, how hard he's at it, or Ryder just saying he's ready to go in there and have a smash. I couldn't listen to that for 40 minutes. It was doing my nutting. I'm telling you, I was huffing, I was puffing. I even thought at one point, I'm going to have to watch this in 2 segments. I can't do this all in one go.
Well, I was going to say, the bad thing about it was there was no fast forwarding. You knew we were going to review it. So you had to watch it. You had to gut it out, But yeah, the next scene was, I was always wondering why this don't happen more often. I'm guessing it's because Gary DeFranco does a good job, and he tries to keep things like this out of it to keep the fighters respect for the fighters. But there's a scene in this where Battle and Ryder, they're chatting about how crazy things would have got on nights out if they went to college together.
Yeah.
Man, it's so lucky that me and him didn't go college together. Woo! You know, the nights out would have gone crazy, would have gone mad. But when they were having that chat, in the background, Ricky Turquoise, the bloke with a big sort of bear barnet, he was in the background picking his nose. And I always wondered, I always wonder why this stuff don't happen more. Yeah,
I liked that.
Yeah, it's good.
Did he eat it or did he just pick it?
No, I think DeFranco cut it off after that, but he couldn't. The reason he couldn't get rid of the scene and go, I've got to save his dignity. There you go. I've got to save Ricky's dignity here because of the nose picking. I can't cut it because the chat's about the night out's happening and we need stuff.
I mean, Battle just seems to be in there as a fluffer, just to go around and talk to people and, you know, get their life stories and stuff like that. I swear he's part of the production team, not actually a fighter. You know that, like Ryder was saying, terrible arm postures. You know, when Ryder was chatting and he was just like agreeing with him, like, yeah, if you come out with me on a night out, it's going to get messy. But he had nothing to say, he just carried on eating his grub. I was like, why is Ryder viewed as some sort of party bloke? He's boring. He has nothing to say.
Yeah, because people get his name wrong at parties. That's how mad it gets.
The only time
they call him Rhino in parties. This is how nuts it gets. His nickname got created from going out on a night of madness.
The only time Ryder is having anything to do with one of my parties, and as you know, I never have parties. I don't think I've ever had a party. But if I did have a party, the only time Ryder's getting involved is if I call his cleaning company to come in and clean the after. That's the only time.
He has got. I liked that. Him having a business on the side,
normal job, brilliant. I did like about him.
I forgot about that. Well, nice one for bringing that up. I said his own vid had now in it because it didn't have a girlfriend and fried eggs. You know, and a bit of water in the pan where the water reacts with the oil and spits. You're right. I forgot about the cleaning business. It's good.
Did you notice though what he said to the woman who was working for him?
I do remember him saying it was one of our. This is our so and so. She's our best cleaner.
One of our best cleaners.
Oh yeah, one of our best.
I think he might have said he had 8 cleaners and she's one of the best. If I was her, I'd be like,
great, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for, pumping up my ego.
Yeah, nice one, Rhino. You mug.
Yeah, so there was that.
Well, at this point, we're on to
what?
Eh?
Are we on to the fight yet, or what?
No, not yet. We're on to the Ultimate Fighter flashback. And this week was the spin kick knockout by Uriah Hall from season 17.
Good one, yeah.
It is good, isn't it?
It is a good one, yeah.
I mean, I didn't make much of it. It was literally a split second. They really didn't make much of it. I think it's amazing that. Good at the time, good Dana reaction. It was a good flashback.
Yeah, it was. Good kick. I mean, he must have come, I wouldn't say come out the Ultimate Fight series with the most hype because he obviously lost in the final. But going into that final, I think he was like one of the most hyped contestants probably on it. When I say hyped, what that is, as in he showed so much in his previous fights that people I think were genuinely really massively excited about this guy. I think they were talking about like he's going to be the guy to dethrone Silver or stuff like that. I think it was Silver at the time, and he's kind of taken, let's just say, a little bit of the long path, hasn't he, Uriah Hall? Really, sort of coming good a bit now, and he's had some good wins, beating Masasi and stuff like that. But
he's done what a lot of people can't do. And he's stuck around. He ain't been cut. He stayed in it. So he's having a pretty good career, isn't he? It's not amazing, like you say, but it's pretty good, isn't it? Fights are high profile. Yes, high profile fights. He's quite good. Yeah,
but it's one of those ones where I don't think he's fulfilled his potential. I think he's getting there now, isn't he? Because he's got a big fight coming up against Strickland, provided he doesn't get his arm snapped by Orlando Sanchez. And
Yeah, Strickland might have to pull out of that. Oh, I mean, pull his arm
Yeah,
out. No, I
literally,
mean, pull out the fight is what I meant. Yeah.
But Uriah Hall, I think he's like I say, he's just taken a bit of a long path, and there's a couple of fights that you would have expected him to win that he's lost, and there's a couple of fights that I expected him to lose, like against Masasi, that he's won. So it's just been a little bit hit and miss. But anyway,
I think he might have got done. Might have got done by Brunson.
I think he might have done as well. Yeah,
it's brilliant that we're looking up Uriah Hall. But listen, that's the good thing about this flashback, and I do think it's come for him. It's come up at a good time because they shoot this show way before they air it, and it's come up quite a good time for him. Really, a bit of a reminder of where he came from and all that. I think these flashbacks are good.
Yeah, they're all right. Yeah, he lost to Derek Brunson,
well,
which is he lost.
That's one of your bad ones.
So he beat Masasi, but he also lost to Masasi. He lost to Whitaker. I mean, if you look at who he's lost to Whitaker. Brunson's a bad loss. He should be smashing Brunson.
Yeah.
But he lost to Whitaker, lost to Masasi, lost to Paulo Costa. There's no shame in any of those. He also lost to Rafael Natal, but that was a long time ago. Not a great one to lose to. And he also lost to John Howard and obviously Kelvin Gastelum. Howard I quite liked. I thought he was all right.
I liked him, yeah.
Yeah. But he's beaten. Well, has not really been. Anyway, we're not here to talk about.
I like Brunson now. I've done a change on him since he done Shabazian and he done a couple of blokes in a row, and big mouth bloke
Kevin Holland.
Yeah, when he done those, so I was like, you know what, brilliant. So I've done a change on Brunson. He's fantastic.
He does manage to squeak out results. It's just he looks so uncoordinated when doing it.
Yeah, well, he's as you've seen recently, he's stopped throwing so many punches, hasn't he? A bit. He's calmed down on throwing punches, and now he does the whole, grab and drag down and winning the fights. Yeah. Fair play to him for it. I like him. Look, we're at a stage now where I think they really, really, really ran dry on footage for this episode. There was just nothing before the fight, so they tried to find absolutely anything they could, like Treyjon reading a Bible. I mean, that was the footage that we had.
That's what I'm saying, man. These guys were dull as ditch water.
The bad one, wasn't it? This was a bad one. This was worse than the previous two episodes. I mean, it was real dry, this.
Yeah. It was the worst one. I mean, they've all been pants, but this was absolutely appalling.
We're getting towards the fight now, and we're in the locker room here. I don't know if you remember this, because some of these things just, come and go. But Ortega was like squaring up to Treyjon in the locker room. I was thinking, you ain't having a fight. Right in his face. Do you remember that?
I do remember. I thought at one stage, is there a little bit of an issue here?
He was doing all that, going up in his face, saying, listen, you remember why you're here, you mug. I mean, it was powers. I don't know what's happening there. So, I don't know. Right in his face, I'd have been, all right, easy. Just going to smash my face in. I'm about to have a fight anyway. I don't want in the locker room and all. But I think he's quite powers, isn't he, Ortega?
Seems that way, yeah.
It does, though, doesn't it? If he slaps up that Korean manager-y bloke, translator bloke, Chan Sung Young's bloke, that's a pretty powers thing to do, isn't it? In the middle of an event, just go up to a bloke sitting down and give him a slap. So I think he's quite powers. So I think he wanted to do Treyjon, or he was interested in having a smash and thought, well, this bloke's got gloves on, I'll do him. So, he was squaring up to him before the fight, and now we're at fight time. So this is pretty exciting, right? Because it's why you watch it.
I just wanted to bring up the Franco thing that he does in this new series, which I don't know if you've noticed. When they walk down the corridor towards the locker room, towards the dressing room before the fight, and they walk past all the jerseys from the previous series and stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Ortega brought those up.
Because these guys literally have nothing to say other than the most run-of-the-mill, boring, repetitive cliches that are used in MMA. But what do you think of that touch where they walk down the corridor past all the jerseys?
Brilliant.
Right, let's go on.
It's showing the history of the show. It's showing the history of the show. It's in keeping with the flashbacks and stuff like that. It's like, look, this is the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't mind it either, but just be better if they managed to get something else out of it, like film it a bit different, or get the guys to say something relatively interesting, or just something.
Let's have some ideas. What would you do then? You
I
agreed?
don't know. I'm not going to do his job for him. I'm sick and tired of doing this guy's job for him. I'm giving him enough ideas.
Yeah. He don't deserve it.
And he gets paid big bucks, and he's just producing absolute turgid, boring rubbish. Anyway, onto the fight.
That's why he puts the jerseys in it on the walkout.
Yeah, well, good. It's an idea at least. I'll give him that, but make more of it.
So fight time. This is what we've been waiting for. Now, I would say it's what we've been waiting for, and it's why we watch the show. But honestly, it's not. We've said this in the review of the first episode. It's not really why I watch it. I watch it because I want an insight into fighters and how they train and stuff like that. And if there's Junie Browning stuff and Bang Bro stuff and Sweeney headlocks in the house and lobster cracks on the, what's his name, on the concrete and all that, I'll have all that and all, if there's all that. But I want to see all the training. And there was nothing, again, to do with coaching and training. Again, it was just nothing. So we're on the fight. So you could go, you've had nothing during the whole episode. Let's at least have a fight then, because that's what we've got here. So the fight is Ryder Newman or Randy Newman.
Oh.
Or Ryan Couture. I don't know what his name is, but Ryder Newman versus Treyjon, that's another new one. Treyjon Gore. Round 1. Treyjon didn't do much, but Ryder did 0. In that instance, only one thing happens. Treyjon wins that round, but It was crap. Nothing happened. Round 2 was exactly the same as round 1. Crap. These are 2-round fights, as you know, because they're down as amateur or not on your record exhibition bouts, aren't they? So in that instance, obviously what happens? Winner, Treyjon, by a unanimous decision. But it was a terrible fight and another win for Team Ortega. Over to you.
Yep, that's right.
See?
The problem I have with this fight, I think Treyjon looked all right, but for a guy who likes knocking people out, he didn't seem that hell-bent on knocking this guy out. You know, he didn't do a Paulo Costa and go in there and do, you know, the incredible Hulk punches on the cage, did he? I mean, he pressed it. He definitely pressed the action. He was the aggressor out of the two, etc. So all the credit goes to him in this fight. But he didn't fight like somebody who likes big knockouts. You know, like lots of fighters you get in the UFC who go out there for a smash. You know, like even like a Mike Perry, and doesn't get many knockouts and gets his face. The only thing guaranteed in a Mike Perry fight these days is that he's going to end up with a broken nose. But
I'd never want to have a fight after his fight, because I know I'd be laying in a load of blood or whatever, or slipping on a load of blood after him.
He goes in there to have a tear up.
He does do.
So for someone who's said, I like knockouts, you know, that's what I'm about. That's my skill. That's my strength. He didn't really live up to that promise, but I thought he looked decent. He looked all right. I think if someone asked me, if someone asked me between him and Petrovsky, who's going to win, I would say I would pick Treyjon, I think.
Who's Petrovsky? Oh, okay. Yeah, the Roman.
First episode. Yeah, the guy who looks
300
amazing.
Looking bloke. Yeah. I agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would he though? Wouldn't the Spartan bloke just take him down and lay on him?
That's what I was going to say. Newman gave it the chat that he's got an irresistible double leg and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
How about trying it?
Be nice, wouldn't it?
For a UFC contract, I've just had to listen to 20 minutes of you spouting utter bull crap about, you know, how important this is to you, that someone's going to have to really bang you out to stop you chasing your dream and blah, 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 blah. And then you get in there and honestly, he did okay as in striking wise, as in he avoided a lot of strikes. He got in a couple of counters here and there. He looked okay and did okay in that regard. But why not try and take the guy down? You're a wrestler.
Yeah, use your skill set.
You're going to be a wrestler who's just going to go in there and have bang average striking. Then forget it. What's the point? You've got to put the fight into your favor. You've got to make it the type of fight you want to fight. And I think towards the end of the first round, he tried to take down. And I was like, what's the point trying it now? 30 seconds left. You're just going to burn some energy. You've already lost this round. Even if you secure a takedown, you're not highly unlikely going to work a submission or a TKO from ground and pound in under 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
forget it. You've burnt this round. You've sacrificed it. Forget it. Put it all into round 2. Came out in round 2, just circled the cage for about 3.5, 4 minutes before he tried to take down again. Why are you trying to take down now?
I know, terrible.
I can't stand stuff like that. And then he finishes the fight and says, I think I might have paid him too much respect and stuff like that. It's like, I don't want to hear this crap now.
No, because earlier in the show he said it, right? He said, I picked the best bloke. He said, I picked him to fight him because he's the best bloke in it. All right. So you already paid him the respects he's due. You already said that he's the toughest fight, the best bloke in the house. So you know what you're getting into. So like you say, it's too late saying it after. It's just,
exactly, yeah.
It's just bad. You have 10 minutes. He knows he's got 10 minutes. He knows he's only got 2 rounds. I'm sorry, he did nothing. Didn't play to whatever his skill or strength supposedly is, or at least we didn't see it. I don't know. I don't want to be too nasty.
I even saw a crudely delivered Hail Mary punch from him in that fight. I don't even think I believe I saw him, just wing one and hope, I hope this clips Treyjon on the chops and knocks him down. I didn't see anything. I just saw him basically, he looked like a guy who was just intent on surviving the fight, not getting knocked out or not getting, choked out or something.
Which he did.
Yeah. And to me, that was almost like a victory for him. Why? I don't know, because I don't think Treyjon looked that intimidating, that scary, or that good, or anything. Look, maybe he felt something early on in the fight that deterred him. I don't know. But the facts are, if you give it all the chat, and this is your big opportunity, let's be honest, he's blown it. If I was Dana, I would not be going, well, I definitely want him on the, the TUF show at the end or anything. No. I'd be going, get it. What for?
Yeah, exactly. What have you done? This is, like you say, your big moment. The boss is watching. It's on telly. You've given it the chat. I mean, it's a lot of exposure. I know no one watches it, right? Because I tell you, funny that I'm going to bring this up right now because I've said no one watches it. But I was listening to UFC Unfiltered, Jim Norton, Matt Serra, and they had Megan O'Leary on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was giving it. Matt Serra, to be fair to him, said, Ultimate Fighter, it's good. I've been watching it. And that's very rare, right, for someone to be talking about it. That's why I'm bringing it up, because nobody talks about it, right? And he brought it up, and he said, Jimmy, Ultimate Fighter, and he went, nah, ain't for me. So he banned it, right? And he went, Megan, Ultimate Fighter. She went, yeah, brilliant. You know what she's like, sniffing it in, saying great and all that. And I think she thought that was going to be the end of it, but it weren't. Sarah said he wants to give these fighters some shine, started chatting about it. Don't you reckon, Megan? And she went, well, I've not seen that episode. So we were right. I don't think people chat about this. So I only brought it up because we just said it's his big moment. But for him, regardless of that, it is a televised show. It's definitely his big moment because Dana White's flipping sitting there, And like you said, he's give it all the chat. He's got his 10 minutes. He's done that with him. And he ain't left himself in a good spot for a wild card or the finale, as you've rightly said.
Exactly.
So,
I just don't see in what realm he did anything that could possibly have won him that fight. He didn't throw a strike with enough conviction and power to get a knockout victory. He was always on the back foot. He was always throwing strikes, basically in an effort to keep Treyjon off him. He tried a couple of takedowns, but that's literally it. Two in 10 minutes. It's what we've said before. If you can't, we spoke about it with Ivloev on about the Ivloev Dawodu fight.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a grappler and you can't grapple, remember this ain't even a 3-round fight. This is only a 2-round fight, and you can't grapple hard when it's your strength for a good portion of that 10 minutes. I just don't see how you're going to get anywhere.
No, the excuse we'd give him, and you've taken that excuse away by the review of the fight you've just given, is if Treyjon was busting him up. You can't get into your groove, can't get into your game, so you're getting beaten up bad. He wasn't, so it's even worse.
The only defense you can mount is you could say he ate a couple of leg kicks which compromised his leg or something early on in the fight. But even still, even still, you can close the distance. Even still, you can initiate a clinch. Even still,
Absolutely.
you can try something. To me, it was just a simple case of, I think, early on in that fight, he viewed getting through the 10 minutes as the victory.
Yeah. Well, it would have been much better off for him had Treyjon done one of his training partner head kick knockouts on Ryder, because then he could have said, look, I haven't got a chance to prove myself yet. He got fair play to him. He got the shot in and whatever. I got knocked out, but give me another chance and I'll show you. It's exactly what you said. There's no reason. Show nothing.
We've seen everything he's got to offer now.
Yeah, he would have shown more getting knocked out, and then getting up and going, that weren't my true self. Give me another chance. Do
a Ross Point. Be a little bit like Ross Point, isn't it? Be your guide's call. But yeah, he just showed that. I don't know. Just didn't show much. Didn't show enough, which is a shame. I'm sure he's beaten himself up about it more than anyone else, and that is a shame.
Yeah,
but
of course.
What can you
Understandable, but yes, you had your chance. You've done a De Niro in Copland. You have your chance. You blew it. That's all there is to it. So we're on the fight pit for next week. For some reason, Volkanovski, he gets to pick every fight, even when his fighter loses.
Does he just announce it?
Do you think so? Because I don't know what's going on.
No, I mean, look, when they tossed the coin, he said, you get to choose the first fight. But my understanding is that because Ortega's team won that fight, or the power passes over to Ortega. I don't know if the power passes over. Maybe it's got something to do with, so Volkanovski got the first pick for both weight classes. Maybe it's got something to do with that. I don't know. So he didn't just get the first pick for the bantamweights. He got the first pick for the bantamweights and the middleweights, or I can't remember the weight classes. He gets the first pick on both. Maybe. But even still, Ortega's won 3 fights now. So why isn't Ortega announcing the fights? I'm a little confused by that, but. Okay, I'd let Volkanovski carry on picking because he's doing an absolutely terrible job.
Well, as you've just brought up there, and we'll clarify, it's now 3 wins to Team Ortega and 0 to Volkanovski. Plenty of fights left. The next fight is Dustin Lamprose for Team Volkanovski versus Vincent Murdoch for Team Ortega. There's nothing we can say about these fellas yet, is there? I mean, I can't say anything about these blokes yet because they don't show us anything. It's only the evaluations where we could have seen stuff from episode 1, or getting to fight in the house, which isn't part of this season, where we could tell you something about them. All the shine this week was given to Treyjon mostly, and a tiny bit to Ryder. So we don't know anything about these blokes really. But what I did notice is that I told you that DeFranco listens to our podcast, and you're going to go, yeah, but he records it in advance. No. It's too much of a coincidence. You were having a dig last week about them showing clips of the next fight, and they didn't show any clips of the next fight. They just showed a hand touch, and then that was it. So he's taken it on board. He's listened to you, and DeFranco's gone, all right, I won't.
No. They've done this before. So the Treyjon Ryder fight, I knew was going either deep into the second round, or I knew it was going to be a decision. So after the first round, I knew 100% Treyjon was going to win, unless there was a Hail Mary from Ryder, which was highly unlikely because of the timing. The timing of the fight started around 42 to 45 minutes into the episode, or around 40 minutes. 5 minutes for each round, that's 10 minutes. And then you have the little announcement, chat about the fight after, and announce the next fight. 15 minutes, takes you up to 55 minutes. So I knew there wasn't going to be a third round. Let's put it like that. So I knew there wasn't going to be a third round in that fight. That's the end of that. Now, with regards to the other thing you're saying there, I know or I believe that Murdoch fight will end with an early knockout. That's why I really
like that you've said that, because...
And you'll know for sure when the fight doesn't start until about 50 minutes in. Then you'll know for sure that it definitely does.
All right. Well, I mean, I like that you've said
that's why the editing on this show is terrible. Mix it up.
How do you know that already, though?
They've done it
just a glove touch.
I've always known how long a fight's going to go or who's going to win it. Yeah, 9 times out of 10 because of this.
You know it based on when the fight starts in the next episode, but you haven't watched the next episode yet. You've only seen a glove touch. How do you know already that the Lampros Murdoch's going to be a KO?
Well, I don't for sure, but because
No, I know
they
you don't for
haven't,
sure. That's why it's good that you
yeah, but
said it. It's fun.
because they haven't shown many clips. To me, that
Right.
suggests they haven't got many clips of punches landing.
They can't
So
show you
they
fight.
they can't show you anything because the first time someone
Gotcha.
lands, they're going to get banged out. Now,
Gotcha.
if the fight doesn't start until very deep into the episode, very late into the
Then you
episode,
know you've got
know
another bit of evidence.
100% that I'm going to be right. There's going to be an early knockout because there's only
Gotcha.
5 minutes left in the show.
Right.
So
Okay. That did need
again,
clarifying. Yep.
mix
Makes
the
sense.
editing of the show, put the fights in staggered into the show, slightly different. Have a fight at the start of an episode, and then show more of the fallout from the fight after something, and then you won't know. But these guys, they
You
just seem
burst my bubble. So it ain't
these guys
because.
just seem content on just churning out the same format, the same everything. Just
So we
with a new
still
list.
think that Franco does listen and tunes in and listens to the show, but it's not why he didn't show fight footage. It's probably because he couldn't show loads of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first punch that lands, somebody gets
All
rocked.
right. Well, that's very
Could
interesting.
be wrong. Could be
No,
wrong.
I know that. Yeah, this wasn't a definite. I know that, but it's good that you've said it because it's only a bit of fun, right? So, I didn't realize or whatever. I was wrong or whatnot. It doesn't matter. It's a bit of fun. It's good that you brought up, and I'd like you to do that every time and do a rough prediction based on DeFranco's editing. It's a good new string to our review bow. Yeah, it's a good one, right?
Yeah, I will do.
Brilliant idea. Brilliant idea that we've just come up with. All right. Well, that's the end of this episode. It was a review of The Ultimate Fighter Season 29, Episode 3. And we'll be back with you soon for a review of Episode 4. Will it be as enthralling as Episode 3?
Highly unlikely.
Okay.
I hope they start mixing in 2 fights an episode soon because I can't take much more of this stuff.
They do normally do that, don't they?
They do when it gets to the semi-finals and stuff, but please just put your foot on the accelerator and just do it now. Do it now. Let's get to the end. Come on. Get rid of it.
You say that, but you remember what they've done? I don't know about every time, but from memory, a lot of the time, they have that little season break and there's a week or so goes past without an episode. Do you remember that?
There'll also be a night out on the town soon, won't they? Or when they bring some hookers in for the pool party.
Oh, yeah, they do the pool party hooters and all that. Yeah.
Oh, boring.
And then,
but
hey, I tell you, if they do a night out, mate, it's going to be mad with battles.
Oh, battles and Ryder. Lock up your doors.
We're going to get some real evidence of what they said, Bloody hell's bells. Here, we look forward to it, boys. We look forward to it. So that's the end of this one. I'll see you for the next one. Thanks very much.